The first Berserker Khazan is...
Yes! Yes!
And I love it! So about 1 month ago, Nexon at Neopol brought us a new action RPG fighting adventure called The First Berserker Khazan. And while they did manage to gather a lot of hype through well done trailers and the demo that had left a great first impression on the game, some were still a bit skeptic on the game, mostly because it had this anime type of art style. Many assumed it was going to be some kind of Souls-like for weebs and thought it would have a similar impact like other anime titles. But that was totally not the case. And today we're going to talk about how Khazan won over the hearts of thousands of gamers, getting a 90% positive review stat on Steam and having many huge creators praise it in front of millions of people. Betrayal. The only word needed to describe the story of the once honored great General Khazan. As a descendant of a barbarian tribe, his kind was hated by the Emperor of Pel-Los, as they refused to follow any orders nor rules of his. However, one day Khazan had to face one of the Emperor's imperial commanders and surprisingly managed to win. The commander, stunned by Khazan's potential, saw past his origins and gave him a position in the army. Despite being looked down upon by many members of the army, he managed to acquire the highest rank as Great General, and became a well-trusted warrior of the Emperor. Then, in the year 100, the Apostle Bakal, the King of Dragons, sent the Berserk dragon Hisma into the Empire of Pel-Los, starting a war between Pel-Los and the dragons that lasted for 52 years. Only due to Khazan coming up with a plan trapping Hisma's dragons in a canyon and fighting Hisma head-on with his strongest companion Ozma, Pel-Los was finally saved from the terror of the Berserk dragon and could linger in peace for a while. But, despite all of his good deeds, the Emperor became scared of Khazan and Ozma's acquired strength, resulting into him betraying the heroes of Pel-Los. Both of them were sentenced for allegedly planning to overtake the king's throne. Ozma's entire family got killed in front of his eyes, his love was taken from him, and he was set on sea in a sealed barrel while Khazan was exiled into the Stru Mountains. However, during his exile journey, him and his escort were surprised by a giant avalanche, killing everyone but Khazan. Turns out, this was set up by an ancient being, the Blade Phantom, wanting to take over his body, fueled with rage from the injustice that was done to him and his friends. Against all odds, Khazan's body didn't give in on the Blade Phantom's will to overtake. Instead, Khazan's body and the Blade Phantom's power merge after a pact was formed between them, finally giving Khazan enough strength for his revenge and handing over Khazan's fate into the player's hands. Is it simple? Kinda, yeah. But it's straightforward, attaches the player to the protagonist, and gives Khazan a badass aura right at the start of the game, immediately catching the player. It's a similar feeling to what I felt when I read through the Berserk manga for the first time. Though the character writing of Guts is way deeper than Khazan's in my opinion, both leave a similar impression of the brutal powerhouse seeking for revenge for all the suffering that has been done to them. The combat system is similar to the average Souls experience in finding different weapons from different weapon types. There are 3 different weapon types in total in the first Berserker Khazan: dual-wielded swords and axes, great swords, and spears, all appearing in different designs in terms of abilities, damage potential, and looks, giving Khazan a total of 67 usable weapons, all of which feel incredibly smooth in combat from what I can say. Also, you don't really need to focus on using any specific weapon or weapon class for your playthrough, since you can reskill your skill points at any time, allowing you to be experimental with just about anything. The most important thing in its combat is probably parrying, which we saw from Sekiro and Lies of P is always a big success if done well. And it is done well. Parrying not only gives you the chance to lower the enemy's stance bar so he gets stunned quicker, but also has an upgraded version that allows the player to counterattack in between parries, effectively improving the parrying experience. So definitely consider the parry button instead of rolling around the enemy, because it really gives you a much easier time during the very intense boss fights. And speaking of considering, why not consider hitting that like button if you've made it this far in the video to show me some appreciation for my work. Thanks to all of you, and now let's move on to the boss fights. They are hard, straight up frustrating in many points in the game. Some have a very long combo string, others are hard to keep track of because they move a lot or use many spells and have particles flying around them. So do you need patience to play the game? Yeah, a lot. But the great part about Khazan is that its combat was done so well and feels so fun, while also having interesting badass and visually appealing bosses, so that you don't really get tired of fighting the bosses. It's just overall a fun experience no matter how long a boss takes, because the game is just that enjoyable. Khazan even gets a bit of a bonus point for me here because it doesn't have any long runbacks to boss rooms and also gives a casual player the chance of enjoying the game as well, since there are difficulty settings. So don't worry if you feel hard stuck at any point in the game, just arrange the difficulty and you'll be good to go. Or be ready to spend a couple of more hours to figure out the enemy. Everything looks and feels great. Animations are smooth, regions look very visually appealing, the voice work is solid, and there is a big enough enemy variety for it to not feel repetitive. Though some people consider Khazan having too easy regions that can't put up much of a challenge in terms of puzzles nor difficulty, I think that's completely fine. Because I think I can speak for each and every one if I say that I definitely needed some time to calm myself after the fight against Malika. And that's exactly what they do. They calm you down and help you prepare for your next big encounter. I also liked how the game is split into regions that are accessed from a central hub that you visit quite often after having completed a new level. It gives you this kind of daily reminder to upgrade yourself so you don't have to fear reaching too difficult regions while being underleveled or anything. This really balances out the game well. However, of course, upgrades alone won't carry you through the game. A tiny small critique point I got is that most places, while looking visually stunning, don't really seem too interesting. Most of the time regions are very foggy and you don't get this kind of feeling of running around in the area and suddenly wondering what that structure in the distance might be and whether you can access it or not, since most levels are pretty linear and don't require too much exploring. But even though level design might be where Khazan's the weakest, it still is more than good enough to deliver a great Souls-like experience and even feels unique from other Souls-likes because of its anime type of art style. Khazan, in my opinion, is a definite must-play for every Souls fan. It really offers everything a Souls player needs and wants, and on top of that, makes you feel like guts when slicing through those enemies, so definitely consider giving it a try. But for now, as I usually tell you, feedback is the most important thing for every artist in the world, so definitely make sure to give me some feedback in the comments section and give the video a like to support me and subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any future content. That's it from me for today. Bye bye.